Hello, you're watching Nested High School Computer Science. I'm Sam. Let's get started. Today, we're talking about human-computer interaction, or HCI for short. So, what is HCI? HCI is a large field in computer science that focuses on designing, evaluating, and improving user interfaces. It's based on human psychology and gives the foundation for modern disciplines such as user experience and user interface design. The first thing you need to think about when we talk about HCI is the fact that computers are built for us. And when I mean us, I mean human beings. The software on them, the programs, the operating system are all written for us. We have to understand them and we need to know how to use them. And if this doesn't really work in the way we think, we get a little bit frustrated. So one of the goals of HCI is to avoid frustration at all times. So humans are using this software, this operating system, this program, this mobile phone, this device or this appliance. So we need to design for them. And the crucial bit about designing for humans is understanding humans. When we are coding as programmers or computer scientists, we typically only think about the one problem. How do we write code to solve the problem? But there's another problem that a lot of people don't think about, and this is how the user uses the program when it's finished. As a good computer scientist, you'll have to think a lot about how the user will use your program. For example, here are some considerations you might need to make when you're designing. Think about accessibility. What if the person's blind, deaf, or has poor motor skills? What about their culture? What about the domain of the problem? Are they editing software? Are they editing video, making music, writing a Word document, or something completely different? What about users who have used a similar program before? They might have an expectation of how your software should work. Consistency. If the button's on the left side of the screen normally, why is it now on the right? What about the user's age bracket? Does a 17-year-old use a computer differently to an 80-year-old? What about someone's skill with the computer? Do they really know all those keyboard shortcuts? Do they use them? The HCI cycle looks something like this. First, we design our product. We build it, and we test it. And with the feedback we get from the test, we take that back into the design phase. So if someone didn't understand how a certain feature worked, or found something confusing, we can work that back into the design and build something new, and then test it again. In the research field of HCI, researchers like to take an interface, see where they can improve it, and then run tests with people to see if it worked. Through these small improvements, we get better and better interfaces. So let's talk about the design phase. A designer would ask themselves these questions. Who is the software for? What does their software need to do? How does your user think? How can we match the software to what the user is thinking? We'll talk about this more in a later video. In terms of building, are you building a software product or a physical product? Is it a machine or an appliance? If it's software, is it mobile? Is it for web? Does it run on the desktop? Or is it just a website? There are a lot more decisions to make when you're building a product. And these decisions are tested in your test stage, which may inform a change in design. So how do we test this stuff? Typically, you'd gather a group of people, let them use the software, and then ask questions about how they liked it. Did this make sense to you? How would you do this? What confused you? And if you wanted to, and had their permission, you can measure heaps of things. You can measure how long it takes them to click buttons. You can measure their facial expressions, even track where their eyes are looking. The idea now is to use these results to influence your next iteration of design. So why bother with making good software? Why can't we just code it up and be done with? Good products are worth a lot more in the marketplace. They sell better and the users have a better experience. So, do your research. Find out what makes the user understand your software. And if they're not understanding it, you may need to adjust the design. And don't forget, if users don't like your product, they'll move on to a competitor's product. You're almost certainly not alone in your marketplace. In summary, HCI is about people. People, people, people. We design, build, and test, and we repeat this cycle until the software gets better and perfect for our users. And lastly, we keep our users happy. We avoid frustration, and we match what they're thinking in their mind to what our software looks like and how it works. This has been an introduction to human-computer interaction by Nested. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Thanks for watching. Right, how do I get out of this window? Exit.